Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to CGI Science webinar. So today we want to introduce the new way how you can create photorealistic textures for your future projects, for your interior projects. So any projects you need have like really quality textures. Today's the day, and we want to show some really good workflows how you can create these textures. So as you can see in my screen, so it's cgiscience.com. So this is our training center web page. So if you have any questions and you want to contact us or just want to get new ideas or something, just let us know. Okay. And today, the main topic is about Substance products. So Substance is now acquired by Adobe. And the thing is that with these new solutions, we can create textures, really quality textures in no time. Okay, so first, so whenever you're creating any project, so for example, you're creating some interior scene with 3ds Max, with Cinema, with Blender, and one of the major thing is in order to get really nice renderings, you need to use really quality textures. Now the problem is if you don't know the good sources, it's really hard to create nice renderings. Now, even if you know some sources, so for example, this is like freestocktextures.com. So you can download these textures, you can use them, but you will still have some issues. Now, why? So the first thing is, so this is simple image, and if you're using, I don't know, like V-Ray, Redshift, Corona, or any render, or even real-time render engines like Unreal, Unity, this is simple image without any additional channels. So if you're not familiar with these channels, so stay tuned and we will introduce in the future webinars and our blogs. But at this point, the thing is that this is simple image without additional information. So it means if you will add some reflections, you will not have reflections in details. Or for example, you want to have bumps and you want that these bumps is interactive with your lighting. So you cannot achieve this. This is because this is a simple image. So you need to have all additional channels. Now, another thing is with this really simple texture, tiling. So you will get tiling. So it's not a problem if you don't need a tiling, but in most cases, you're tiling your textures. And this texture is not seamless. So you cannot use this texture in most cases if you want to get photoreal rendering. Okay. Now the solution is to use really quality textures. Now, for example, one of the website is TextureHammond. So this is one really good. So that you can see in total they have like more than 200 textures. So it's not a lot, but still, all these textures are really quality ones and actually for free ones. For example, I'm going to wood category. So they have really nice textures. And for example, this one. So these planks, you can see from this image, it's really quality one. And if you would want to download this one, you can see that even the resolution you can get till 8K. So how cool is that? So it's a huge one. And we do even have all these additional channels. Now, everything is okay, more or less, but the more unique projects you're creating, or you have a lot of the project, you want to edit your texture somehow. And so this texture is not editable. So from technical perspective, it is editable, but you need to change all the channels and you need to add a lot of effort in order to change something. So if you want to change the texture and to see the progress of changing in real time, you need to have parametric PBR texture. So PBR stands for physical based render textures. So it means these textures are universal ones. So it means if you create once, you can use on any platform. 3ds Max, Blender, Maya, just name it. Okay, so now the Substance, as I mentioned in the beginning, so the Substance family products, so it's dedicated material outering software. So you can create any kind of materials and textures over here. So if I'm going to the products, so we have the substance, and if I'm going down, you can see the products from this from Adobe. We have Substance Painter, so unique painting on the object. So we will show this one in our future blogs and webinars. Substance Designer, it's as I said, it's like authoring software, and you can create any parameter you want, and you can get really, really unique textures. Now, whenever you're creating this really complex and complicated materials, you have parameters, and you can view and change these parameters in Alchemist and in Substance Source. Now, Substance Source is dedicated library of parameter materials. So today we will start with this one. So Substance Source and Substance Alchemist. So I will introduce these two softwares. Now the thing is, as I mentioned, the main point is here to show how you can get really nice textures, how you can edit them in parametric way, and how you can export and prepare these textures for your platform. Okay, so Substance Source. So Substance Source is really nice library with all parametric materials. So it means you can change a lot. So for example, I'm pressing, for example, we will use free assets if, for example, in case you want to follow up. And for example, this marble, or for example, this wooden surface. So I'm selecting this one. Now I have this slider. So I can go to the next one. Now I have like rendering to show how it looks like. Now I have this one, and they have different presets. So whenever you're downloading this one and uploading in your Alchemist, you will get all these presets as well. Now in the last slider, you can find that we can change, for example, something to play with the texture to see where everything goes. Okay, and this one works in real time. So the quality over here is not the best, but this is not the major software you will work with your texturing in order to change all the parameters. For that reason, we will use Chemist. So now I can even double check the maps. So this texture has this amount of maps. So you can see the diffuse map, normal map, glossiness, reflection, and other maps. Okay, so one of the most important things that whenever you're creating like quality stuff. So I'm going back to my shape. Okay, and I can see the parameters. So now I can change nodes. First of all, let me change the shape. I will use plane in order to see what's happening. Okay, you can see you can navigate. You can see the lighting. Okay, now I can change nodes, fibers, and now I can play with this texture. Or I can download this one. So I'm pressing download, and I will use SBSR. So it's Substance Archive. So I'm pressing on this one. And now it's downloading. And now I want to use this in Alchemist. So the Alchemist, let me remind to you that the Substance Alchemist is one of the Substance products. So I'm launching my Substance Alchemist. You can see that software is not complicated. And this is not a plugin. So it's, I think it's really important to emphasize this, that Substance, majority of a project is standalone products. So you can view, create, and edit your materials in real time in standalone software without any rendering. Okay, so now I want to add this downloaded texture. So I'm pressing in my Explore tab, I'm pressing plus, add material, and let me find my download. And here you go. So now this one is the texture from Substance Source. So now I'm just applying this one, just clicking left click. Now you can see I have very same parameters, have more quality, all presets, and I can even choose the quality I want to see in my viewport. So I'm pressing on this viewer settings in global parameters, for example, and I will choose 4K. So it's quite impressive to work with in real time with this texture. Now I can change node amount. Okay, I can even change rotation. For example, if you want to change your angle in 90 degrees, I can press on this one. Okay, like this. I have a lot of wood vanish filters. So for example, we'll change this one. This one, you can see what's happening. I can change fiber roughness intensity. So small fibers intensity. So you can play a lot with this one. As I mentioned, you have all presets from substance source. So in this side, I can press on this one, and now I have different templates. Or for example, this one. So now I have completely new settings. And you can see, for example, the reflections that in this preset, we have a lot reflections going on over here. And this is because of this preset. And you can change all these things in your parameters. So how cool is that? So you have like one material with parameters, and you can get any number of materials for your project, different, like same material and like different amount of outputs. Now, talking about output, so as I mentioned, whenever you're connecting substance source to Alchemist using SBSR, so substance archive file. Now, if you're going out from Alchemist, it really depends where you want to use this material. Now, if your end software is Unreal Engine, Unity, so there is even additional plugin for these softwares, even for 3ds Max and Maya as well, and Cinema 4D. So just name it. And you can install additional plugin like Substance Link, and you can use these materials with all parameters for your dedicated software. Now, if your workflow based on images, so you can export as images with all additional channels. So pressing on this export button in the right side, so export current view, and now I can choose the name of a texture. I can choose the channels I want to add, and you see here this format. So basically, so first two is for substance files. What's the difference between substance archive and substance file? I will explain in future videos and blogs whenever we'll touch advanced topic. Now, if, for example, you don't want to use SBSR, you can choose, for example, JPEG. Okay. Now you just need to choose a path you want to save your images. So I will create test folder for that. Okay, so select, and now I can export this one. So now I'm exporting 4K texture. Okay, just a second. And in this folder, now I can find all these channels. So you can see that images, so for example, this one is diffuse channel, really nice quality. I will double check the size, and I can see in the details, it's 4K resolution. And if I'm doing any changes, I can re-export. Okay. Now the thing is, whenever you're creating from something from resources, so for example, I have, I guess I have, so for example, we have another wood, and we have a plastic, we have a sand, and now, for example, you want to add different layers for this one. So it means you can edit your material. So for example, I'm taking this, this one, it's a really nice one. So this one is concrete smooth. So now I'm going to create, and I want to use this concrete material. So first of all, I have this stack. So this stack is like very same stack like in Photoshop, the layer stack. And I can see this one texture with all this really nice reflections. And now these reflections is from the HDR rights. So in order to edit or change or make it invisible or visible, you can go to viewer settings and you can change over here. So you have environment, you can choose from presets, or you can even use your own HDR right. In most cases, for our commercial projects and training, using this one, really nice source. There is like a lot of different categories. You can find really huge ones. So for example, you see this one is 16K. So it's really impressive. Okay, I'm going back. So now I can change my environment, for example, to this one. Now I can see the result. Let me double check. Okay, so this one, studio lighting, this one really shows all the details I need to see in my texture. Now, in the right side, this is, as I mentioned, there is layer stack. So now, for example, I can add additional layers. So for example, so add layer, and you can see the layer list. And for example, I want to add some cracks. And you see, so this is the parametric cracks. So now I'm pressing on this one, on the cracks. And in this left side from this effects, I can change, for example, cracks density, spread, intensity, opacity, roughness. Okay, so nice. Now on top of that, I want to add, for example, so let me just cracks intensity like this. Okay, now I have really nice cracks. Now, for example, on top of that, I want to create some dirt. So I'm adding new layer and I will add dirt. Okay, so I don't need a lot. I need a little. I will change the color, for example, like this, color balance. Okay, I will add a little opacity. So I don't want to make really intense ones. Okay, so now I have all these dirt details. You can even add your custom mask if you have any. And you can even make it edge protective. This one is really important thing. Okay, now spread contrast. So now I have a little dirt. Okay, you see how cool is that? So you can see that the list is really huge. I can even, for example, add colorize, or for example, color variations, and you can start adding different colors. Now, easiest way is use colorize in this case. And now, for example, I can add the color I want to use. So for example, I want to use some green in really small amount of this color. Something like this. Now, for example, I have this wall with all this additional details. Now, the thing is, so now you spend some time to create the text. Now I have like this. But if you change your mind, so for example, your art director said we don't need these cracks or these or the dirt, so it's not a problem. So I can even press on this dirt, so I can like hide or disable the channel. So I don't need the dirt, I don't need the cracks. So I have this really nice clean texture or my cracks. I like the cracks, but in this case is too intensive. So I can go back and I can start changing the intensity, spread, density. So now I want to have a little of these like this. And as previous example, so whenever you're done with your texturing, so you can, first of all, you can save your material. You can create your own collections. You save in your collection. So you want to save all these parameters. And if, for example, you want to export this one, so I'm pressing export. Okay, and export current view. And now you can export this texture as images or as parameter SBSR file. Now, the next thing is, if you're creating really advanced textures, sometimes you even need to mix the different materials. So for example, I'm going back to my resources and I'm going to create, I'm pressing that I want to create new materials. So just basically I'm deleting what I had done already. And for example, I have this, let me use, for example, this cliff rock. Okay, cliff rock. Okay, just a second. Okay, so for example, you're creating some outdoor scene, you have this element. Now, on top of that, so for example, I have a snow, and I want to mix the snow with this one. How cool is that? You see? So now I can prepare my scene. So I have the snow over here. And now how you can mix them, so you can even change. Okay, just a second. Now it's loading. And I guess at this point, because I'm streaming the video and everything, whenever I'm done with calculation, I will reduce the quality of the texture. So from 4K, we can go to 2K. Okay, it's safer way. Okay, I'm going back to create. Okay, so now I'm selecting this blend parameter, and now I can offset like this. Okay, I can play with the contrast. So quite a lot, and add a contrast. Like this. I can change the opacity, material scale, height adjustment. So you can see, so you can get, for example, really nice exterior texture in this case. So it's not only for exterior, so it's from this point, it's all about imagination, but you can see the point. So you can make really, really advanced texture. And as I mentioned, so you can mix any amount of materials and textures you want. So this is one of the examples. So now, with all the textures, now I can export and I can use this one for my projects. Now, for example, another thing is, it could be the case you want to tile them. So, for example, I can add the layer and I want to add tiling. Okay, so now it's asking how many time I want to. For example, we can leave offset as it is, and for example, we want to use like 2 tiles, and now I have this tiling. How cool is that? Okay, so basically this is it. The thing is, so this is like first step in this smart way to create the textures. Now, in our future videos and blogs, we will show how to add everything whatever we create. So I mean, whenever you're exporting, how you can use these textures in different softwares like Unity, Unreal. So we will show real case scenarios how you can work in this these solutions. So stay tuned, and you will see. You will see the next solution. So we will show Substance Painter, Substance Designer, and after that we will start touching on Unreal, Unity, Maya, Cinema 4D, and the rest of the materials. But like summarizing everything, the main point is over here that you can get really, really complicated texture in really small amount of time. And this is really, I guess, in our days, really important. Do not spend a lot of time on for example, rendering. So before you start even do the draft renders, you want to make sure you have at least good quality of the textures, not like you're rendering your scene, and from that point you're starting to noticing that something is wrong with texturing, the quality. So it's not the time to play with the textures whenever you're doing the renders. So you want to create before you're starting your compositions and everything. Okay, so this is it for today. So it was Imantos from CGI Science. So thank you for attending the webinar, and see you the next time. Have a nice day.